here we are. Not in the best spot to be doing this. There's a car here and a truck here, and it's slightly raining, but we're just gonna get started. And today's the day engine goes in this car, and it pretty much have to get it running as well. I mean, I don't need to, but definitely a priority to get this thing running today. So let's go ahead and start with taking off the front bumper and all the front core support and all that, and pull this thing out of here. Before getting started, I did also flush out the heater core and the radiator with just some fresh water, try and get as much rust as I could out before starting the whole process. Alright, in case you guys are new around here, you aren't familiar with how we do things, I went on full go mode right now, so quite a bit has happened. Obviously, front end's off. Here's the front end. Core support, radiator, bumper, headlights, crash bar. Got the axles out. Came out real easy. Very happy about that. Downpipe was already out of the car, but there's that. New engine. Here's the car. It's pretty much ready to pull the engine out of it. The shift cables are off. Obviously, the whole harness is off. Everything here is off. The fuel line's even off. And all I'm waiting on now is my friend to bring the hoist up. And I want to say that's it. Obviously, we have the mounts, but those are holding the engine in. So those are going to stay. The transfer case is disconnected from the drive shaft. You can see it on there, maybe. There you can see disconnected from there. And like I said, ready to pull. So just waiting on that right now. And it's not even that late yet. I forgot when I started exactly, but you can see here 8:07. It's pretty much still the morning. I think I started this around 7, actually lifting the car up and pulling everything off. So great progress. The rain has sort of held back. I'm feeling drops here and there, but not actual rain. And as I say that, it's starting to actually come down a bit. So we'll see what happens, but great progress. I'll try and start filming more of the process now that I'm sort of in a more chill state. Motor is out. That's a big ass transmission. God damn. That wasn't even tight. That wasn't even tight either. This feels stripped. Alright, ignore that last clip. I guess the starter wire had gone through and touched. Now we are good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and crank this thing, make sure it cranks over fine. Build up some oil pressure in her. Alright, it's the next day now. You'll see engines in the car, and this thing is successfully swapped. Just a couple issues. Well, really just one as of right now. It is leaking water. I'm assuming it's from the part where there's a metal crossover tube from the rear heater core into the oil cooler. I believe it's leaking at the oil cooler, so I will just take a look at that. The only reason I'm thinking that is because both of these lines are super rusty, so maybe there wasn't the best seal between the hose and the actual cooler, so I'm just going to have to look into that. And right now I'm going to lift it up, do an oil change on it, of course, and I was going to do a couple other things, just secure up some hoses, secure some wiring. Now that the car's down again and it's a brand new day, it's still early, so I have a whole day ahead of me. And then I'll actually secure this. It's on, but it's not tight at the lower, and just small stuff. But the car is running, and it's running well, sounds healthy, everything is coming back into shape, and we've got ourselves a running Speed 6 again, guys. There you go, brand new oil. Is it wasteful? Yeah, kinda. But is it worth it? Absolutely. I wouldn't want to risk it with a brand new engine in case anything, God forbid, is left in the engine, and pretty much just use it as a flush. So, is what it is. It's what I did on the Z as well. Car's not any issues, so I will continue doing it when I do these things. Alright, I have a quick update. I have finished up the wiring. Obviously, it's not perfect. I don't plan on keeping this setup. I do actually want to switch to a different filter and sandwich plate adapter to run a different oil cooler. So this is, like I said, all temporary. This will be secured up and good. But now I have a working pressure sensor and a temp sensor. Again, these are very inaccurate as well. These are the Pro Sport gauges, I believe, and I think these are what they came with. This is very weird. It'll jump pressures like significantly, just randomly, and do its thing. So that is weird, and I really don't trust this because I've seen it just go from 200 to 300 and just sit at 300 and then sort of bounce around between there for no reason. So anyways, the coolant leak was coming from this hose here. that goes under the oil cooler. Somehow I forgot to put a clamp on that. I don't know how. I must have been really distracted or something, but now when I can just put the worm clamp over it. I don't like using these, but I didn't want to disconnect the hose and lose all the coolant that was in it, so I just decided to wrap the worm clamp around it, go ahead and tighten it down, and now we're good to go. So that luckily was our coolant leak. If that's the only thing I messed up on the swap, I am more than okay with that, because that is a very little insignificant issue. If you guys have been following on with the videos, you'll know that I did walnut blast these intake valves, but they were so sludgy and nasty that I couldn't even get all of it off with the walnut blaster. So today, I'm going to try something I've never tried before, and that is intake valve cleaner. This stuff is pretty well known, and allegedly it's supposed to work pretty good. So CRC direct injected valve cleaner. We're just going to go ahead and plug this into a vacuum line. I'm actually going to use the vacuum line for the bypass valve here, and I'm going to literally just put this end of the tubing in there and just spray it as it says. So I'm going to hold the engine about 2,000 RPM and then just spray it in 1 second bursts until the whole can is empty, and that should be that. So like I was saying, I'm going to spray a good amount through here, and then just in case it only gets the like 2, 3, 4 cylinders to get cylinder 1, I'm also going to pull off the catch can line down there that runs straight into the intake manifold right on the bottom corner, and that should be able to get cylinder 1 and all that a lot better. So that's what I'm going to do right now, just as an effort to try and get this thing better, because even though I cleaned them, when I was cranking the engine, I'd still literally hear air escaping out of the intake valves, because you can't really clean up that carbon seat around that valve in the head, not with a walnut blaster, because the valves are obviously closed when you're cleaning them. So this is kind of the only way to go ahead and get in there and do all that. So hopefully it all works out right now, and then I'll just go ahead and talk about the rest of the car and the swap. Alright, it's been about a week since I actually did the swap, and I've driven this car just under 300 miles since then. It feels phenomenal. It feels like a totally different car, having a brand new engine, a brand new clutch, brand new lightweight flywheel. I couldn't ask for anything better. It just feels amazing, and I guess I'll go ahead and finally outro this video. Here's our freshly swapped engine. Possibly the biggest benefit of this whole process getting able to go down was the fact that I was finally able to fix everything that isn't impossible in the car, but it just made more sense to do it all with the engine out of the car because everything was all accessible. As you saw, transfer case bolts were loose, bolts were stripped, bolts were missing, just things needed access. Things needed to be replaced with easier, more accessible things to work on. It's one thing to build a car correctly, but it's another thing to build it correctly and have it be easily serviceable, and that was the main goal with this car. Obviously, I don't want to fix it, have it all right, and then something goes wrong, and then it's a multi-hour process to get everything out. So anything I can do to sort of simplify a process of fixing something, obviously going to be worth it. I was finally able to rivet nut the catch can onto the frame rail. When I actually made this catch can setup, I didn't have enough space to take the drill in there to put a rivet nut in the frame rail. Frame rail is now rivet nutted. This is mounted solid, not going to go anywhere. Very happy about that. And just all the hoses are redone. Things are deleted. Coolant ports are deleted. Things are plugged off, and everything's just ran correctly. All the wiring is legit, as you see. People call these things a rat nest, but it's honestly kind of nice. Everything you need is right here. Everything basically stems off of this. Just a couple vacuum lines, just a couple wiring harnesses, and that's pretty much the whole engine. Honestly, these cars are really easy. They seem intimidating because there's a lot to them, but they're really not too difficult if you know your way around a vehicle. And honestly, I'm just I mean, the process was fun. It was cool getting able to do this, and it's extra cool knowing that I paid so little for the car, and now in its current state, even though I dropped $1,700 on an engine, it's much more worth it, and this car is worth more than I have into it by tenfold. I mean, this thing is honestly a pretty solid car. It just has its rough edges, of course. You can see by the paint mismatching and things being all scratched up and not perfectly clean, but mechanically this thing's solid, and I can't wait to finally get back to the other things I plan on doing to it, like suspension stuff and brake stuff, which I've already actually done, and just going over the whole car, making it something special, making it cool on track, making it reliable, and just having my fun with it. Very happy to finally be back in this thing running. Another thing I'll touch on real quick since I forgot, and now that the car's running, the car runs so much better now. I don't know if it's a mixture of freshly cleaned intake valves and just everything being redone and fresh, down to the brackets actually being on for the turbo and the intake manifold. The car now gets pretty much no knock ever. Before, no matter what I would do, even though I had brand new spark plugs, brand new timing chain, brand new all that, it would always get some sort of knock condition, somewhere up to 5 knock retard on the Cobb access port. But now you're not gonna be able to see it because I just restarted the car. But no matter how many pulls I do, the highest I've actually seen knock wise on that thing is 0.35, and that's with all the adapters on and brackets that are supposed to be on the car. It's way better now, and I was finally able to fix the harness. Before, the harness was ran down under the front of the radiator, not front of the radiator, but the back of the radiator. Just ran down under. It's supposed to go through the shroud. I was finally able to get that up through the shroud, fix the wiring harness, and get it all routed properly. And like I said, I am more than happy finally being able to go through the entire car and fix every little thing. And honestly, there's not much more left that's fucked up on the car, and it's driving way better than it ever has. Shifter's amazing, clutch is great, it revs really fast now with the throttle body. Let me actually show you how responsive this thing is. Check this out. It is extremely responsive with that Cork Sport throttle body, and I also was finally able to fix the throttle body harness before the connector was broken. I've got it all spliced in and fresh now. This thing is ready to rock.